Hey guys, it's Bscat here. So this video is as promised. I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on Ontario moving back into a modified stage 2. As you know, today is the first day of us going back into a modified stage 2. So my opinions are not going to be radical. I'm a realist. I'm not anti-mask. I'm not anti-vaccine. This is going to be a long video. This is what I would do if I was in charge, and I'm going to give you facts. So let's start. So what is in the modified stage 2? There's a lot of stuff, but I'm only going to give you the big stuff. First off, basically all entertainment venues, attractions, the zoo, the ROM, and everything are now shut down. Schools are moved to online learning for 2 weeks. I do agree with that. I'm going to give you my thoughts on why. Malls and also non-essential retail are capped at 50% capacity. Essential retail, I believe they're capped at 50%. I don't know, or maybe they're at full capacity. I don't know. I have to look into that. And also gathering limits: 5 people indoors, 10 people outdoors. Now, this is where it gets confusing. If you have a public event outdoors, you can have as many people as you want, but they have to be socially distanced. What is the definition of a public event? I don't know. That's really weird, but it's Doug Ford, and he never passed high school, folks, so that'll tell you. But anyway, so let's get right into the details. So let's start off with the closing of the entertainment venues, theaters. Oh, sorry. Also, the most important: no indoor dining, which I do partially agree with. Only for takeout and also delivery. So let's get right into the details. So let's get into the entertainment venues closing. Before we moved into this modified stage 2, these entertainment venues, also theaters as well, like your movie theaters, they had very, very strict measures in place. So they were capped at 50% capacity, which is now what a large mall is now capped at. And also, food and drink were not sold. Oh, also, casinos and all that are also closed. So basically, all entertainment venues, meaning casinos, racetracks, they were all already strict enough. You had to show your QR code. You couldn't take off your mask. There was no food or beverage. So basically, you had to keep your mask on unless you went outside. So these places were actually extremely safe, and they were also capped at 50% capacity. So I was actually a little bit surprised yesterday when I heard that entertainment venues were actually closing, but I do understand why they did it. Now, here's why. Doug Ford couldn't actually justify closing down schools if he kept open entertainment venues, because all the parents, all the union leaders, all the teachers, education workers — I am an education worker, but I'm a realist, I see through it — would be like, but you can allow 1,000 people inside the Scotiabank Arena, but you can't have my kids in school. There's a difference, though. At Scotiabank Arena, they were capped at 50% capacity, no food or drink, and you had to keep your mask on. And in fact, Scotiabank Arena was named one of the safest venues by the World Health Organization or something like that. It's like on their website. Very, very safe. The first ever in their industry. So before they got moved back into stage 2, sorry, if you took off your mask one time at any of these venues, you would be warned, and then if you did it again, you'd be asked to leave. Super strict. So I don't get why Doug Ford has shut down these super strict venues. Same with bars and restaurants. We have the QR code for a reason. Now, basically, the QR code means nothing. So yeah. So now, yesterday, you have to show a QR code, but everywhere that you're gonna go now, you don't have to show it. I can go into a so basically, what Doug Ford is saying is, I can't go to a movie theater at 50% capacity, but I can go into the Eaton Center at 50% capacity. And also, by the way, these 50% capacity limits have been in place since before Christmas, No security guard, no manager was enforcing this. I went into malls around Christmas time, there were over 1,000 people. So you know what? I don't think it's going to be enforced. If you're going to have a capacity limit, which, yes, I do support, at least enforce it. But they're probably not going to be enforced. So Doug Ford is letting big retailers open, but small movie theaters like Imagine Cinemas and places like that are probably going to be shut down now because of this closure, because it's probably not only going to be 21 days. And not only that, now let's talk about something else. For all these employees in the restaurant industry, actually the entertainment industry, you can't get unemployment until after so many days, not 21 days. So all these people are basically fucked now. They're not going to get any support, and Doug Ford has not announced any support. Yes, he has for the businesses, but all these employees are now fucked for 21 days. You can't get unemployment. There's no more CERB. So what are these employees going to do? A lot of them, this is a part-time job. They're high school students. They're college students. They have to pay off OSAP. They really can't afford this right now. I have friends who work in the entertainment industry, who work in the movie industry. And, this is their life. This is what they love. I worked in the entertainment industry for 8 years. I know how hard it is. It's part-time work, but it's fun. You do it because you love it. But again, Doug Ford has shut down all these venues with no science behind it, and all these venues have the strictest measures, and this is confirmed, in the world. And they were being followed. So again, and not only that, now that you have kids home, what do you think they're going to do after school? You want them to go to the park in minus 30-degree weather? No. You want them to stay at home and play their PlayStation and get fat? Oh, sorry. Also, gyms are now closed. So here's what he's basically telling you. He wants you to stay home and get fat, but you can't go work out, which helps you combat the virus. Not everyone can afford a home gym. So here's what I think we should have done. You're letting all the fast food restaurants stay open. What if we shut them down for frickin' 21 days and we kept the gyms open? How many people would actually build herd immunity then? They'd be at the gym. They'd be working out. They wouldn't be eating fast food. But no, Doug Ford kept open fast food restaurants but closed down gyms. Makes no sense, right? So there's going to be a huge obesity problem after this. There already was here in Canada, but now all these problems that we have here, drug addiction, mental health, suicide, obesity, they're just going to get worse. Lockdowns and restrictions don't work. It's proven. Quebec right now, yes, they're far worse than we are. They have a curfew. Why would you put in place a curfew when you know no one's going to listen to it? There's people protesting on the streets. I'm not anti-mask. I'm not anti-vaccine. I'm all for it. I'm actually three-dosed. I'm three-dosed. And this is what we should have done. Instead of wasting our money on curfews in frickin' Quebec and shutting down businesses and hiring all these enforcement officers to go around and ticket fucking businesses, and fucking last year people who were just walking down the street holding hands, we should have been investing in getting the vaccines into people's arms, funding our healthcare system, not increasing police powers to bring back carding, to have people have people on the streets. I get it. Our ICUs are at capacity. But Doug Ford said yesterday, hey, now with the Omicron variant, it's less deadlier, and the ICU stays are actually only, most people are only staying in the ICUs for 1 day. When with the other variant, Delta, and also COVID-19, they were staying longer. With the Omicron variant, they're only staying for 1 day. So that's actually not a long stay. So I don't know how the ICUs are actually at capacity if people are coming and going. And yes, I get it. A lot of previous governments, and I've actually made a video about this, have not funded our healthcare system properly. So yeah, it's their fault. But you know what I would have done if I was premier? Instead of wasting money on freaking restrictions and border closures and all that shit we had last year, and now we're going back to stage two, I would have invested in our hospitals. I would have given money to give the vaccine to more people. Vaccine rollout is so important. The vaccine does work. I'm not anti-vaccine, but don't shut down businesses. And yes, I do agree with the QR code, but now there's no point in having a QR code because you've shut down all the businesses that need it. So all these entertainment venues have felt like we're following what you've told us and we have the strictest measures in the world, but now you've just told us, oh, well, you didn't do anything. And they're also saying false information. There was a doctor on the news a few weeks ago, and he said, I went to a hockey game at the Scotiabank Arena and no one was wearing their mask. Really? They have some of this. They have a rule there now. Operation Mask Up. If you even take your mask down one time, you're out. So I don't know where these doctors come up with this shit. Now, I did want to touch on school closures. So now you're probably wondering, I do agree with it. Now here's why. The reason why they actually shut down the schools, yes, it's actually not because of Omicron. It's because of the staffing. So now here's why. Even before the break, if you needed a supply teacher, it was very, very hard to find one. And now, if you test positive on a test, you have to stay home, and now they can't find a supply teacher. So now you have to call in another teacher, and then they're short staffed. So that's why they've done it, or at least partially. I do agree we need N95 masks and all that. So yes, I do agree. I do agree with the closure of schools for only a little bit of time. I don't think we need it for a long period of time because kids' mental health is only going to get worse. It got bad last year. Trust me, it's bad this year. I work in a school and it's only going to get worse now. But as long as they keep it to actually like a two week closure, I think that's good. As long as they do what they need to do, they fund schools, they hire more staff. In fact, last year they freaking cut like 100 supply staff. Why, I don't know. Like you're in a pandemic. But yeah, as long as they use these 2 weeks to actually plan and do stuff. Oh, also one more thing. If you watched the news conference yesterday, Minister Lecce, who's our education minister here in Ontario, he was actually scheduled to be there. But where was Lecce? He was hiding because he knows that it's an election year, and come June, we're probably going to vote out all these people. Because I'm not voting Doug Ford. I'm voting NDP. But I'm a realist NDP, as you can tell. So yeah, it to freaking move us back to stage 3 makes no sense. Really, it doesn't. But I understand why he tried to do it, Doug Ford, because if he kept open zoos and aquariums and all that, he would have been having actually like the parents saying, "Oh, I can go to a Raptors game, but my kid can't be in school," because they don't understand, the science behind it and also all the strict rules. But that's why I do get it, but I don't agree with it. And also just a heads up, they're probably not going to open up entertainment venues until the schools go back. So that right there will probably tell you when they will open up the venues and stuff after schools open. Because if they open them up before that, they wouldn't have anything to justify it with. But again, I don't agree with them moving us back to stage 2. It's total bullshit. If I was premier, you should be funding hospitals and as well getting the vaccines into people's arms. That's what you should be focused on, not fucking... Also last year, I know like this is turning into a rant now, he fucking shut down skateboard parks and freaking basketball courts. That made no logical sense. Where do you want these kids to go? Do you want them to stay home and play video games all day? Like, seriously, man. This man, Doug Ford, is crazy. I know that he listens to doctors and whatever, but what doctors are you listening to? What doctor would say, I think we need to shut down basketball courts and we also need to shut down skateboard parks where most kids congregate? And that's what they do for fun. I get there's a virus, but you can't just lock everything down. But again, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm not, like I said, anti-mask. I'm not anti-vaccine. I'm a realist. I do believe in the vaccine. I do believe in masking and all that. But I do not believe in shutting down businesses. There's no science behind it. There's no science. Only bad things are going to happen with us moving back into stage 2, even though it's only 21 days, but we all know it'll be longer. Anyways, guys, have a great rest of your day. Stay safe during this so-called modified stage 2 bullshit. Peace.